Welcome back to Real Estate 101. Today we're going to continue our discussion on family law and talk a little bit about custody, access, and the matrimonial home. And I'm pleased to be joined by Rachel Healy of W. Smith Frank LLP. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Rachel, so what does custody mean?
A lot of people think that custody actually has to do with where the child is going to reside. People will say, I want sole custody. They mean, I want the child to live with me. In fact, what custody actually refers to in a legal context is the right to make major decisions about the child. So education, healthcare, religion, that kind of thing. In fact, a child's residence schedule is actually something referred to as access or primary residence.
All right, Rachel, so how is a child's custody and residence, how is it scheduled?
It's determined based on what's in the best interest of the child. So the court look at where is the child going to go to school? What relationship does the child have with each parent? That kind of thing.
All right. What kinds of things do the courts look at when they're trying to make a decision for custody?
So, like I said, they want to make as little change to the child's life as humanly possible. The children don't make the decision as to whether or not this relationship is going to end. Mommy and daddy make that decision. So what they look at is, can the child stay in the same residence? Can the child stay in the same school? And they want to make sure that the child has the same friends as much as possible so that nothing really changes for the child if that's possible.
All right, so when a court is trying to determine the residence schedule, is there any one factor that's more important than anything else?
Not really. Family law cases are so fact specific. There's going to be that's why there's so many different parts of the test. So what one judge may decide on a given day may be based mostly on who the parent is that has the best relationship with the child, or it could be who can stay in the matrimonial home. It's so specific to each family that there's no real number one factor that the courts would consider in any given case.
Every case is different.
Every case is different. So, and every family is different, which is why often we encourage people to, try to make these decisions on their own. You don't want a third party coming in and saying, this is what's best for your child, because at the end of the day, what's best for your child, what's best for your family. So as many of those decisions you can make yourself, that's usually the better way to go.
All right, so how does a court determine what's going to offer that child stability?
Well, I think of the word stability. Stability means, keeping things the same as much as possible. So court's going to want to, like I said, the parents are the ones who make the decision to end the relationship, not the child. So the court is going to want to make sure that everything stays the same for the child as much as possible. So, for example, if the child's having difficulty in school, for example, they're going to want to make sure that the child continues in that school if it's possible. Same teachers, same friends. That's if there's going to be a huge upheaval, a huge change, then that's going to disrupt the child's life. So they want to keep things the same for the child as much as humanly possible. And I keep saying as much as possible. Obviously, there are factors. If it's not economically viable for that to happen, then there will have to be a change. But as much as possible, the courts want to keep things the same for the child.
All right. So you mentioned stability. So what happens if one parent stays in the matrimonial home? In order to keep everything stable for the child, would a court automatically award the children to that one parent?
Not automatically. There's a lot of considerations, as I said, that the court will consider, but it's something that can remain the same for the child. So if one party is economically able to stay in the home, take over the mortgage, that kind of thing, then it would be ideal that the child would remain in the home with that parent with
familiar surroundings,
with their same friends in the same neighborhood, same school, same toys in the same room. So yeah, absolutely, it's a consideration, and it could help in a custody access dispute. That's why often we tell people, if you have to, if you can, don't leave the matrimonial home until these things are decided.
All right, so let's talk about the opposite. Can you give an example of when a child may not be able to stay with a parent that remains in the matrimonial home?
Absolutely. So in the case of, for example, an infant who's breastfeeding obviously needs to go with the mother. In that case, the bond between the parent and the child would be the more important consideration, whereas, obviously they don't have a school they have to go to, there may be daycare, but it would be more important for that child to continue, breastfeeding what's in the best interest of that child. So it really depends on where the child is in their development and the means of each parent.
All right, Rachel, so for people that have a child and are about to separate, what is the first thing they need to do?
First thing they need to do is take a step back, consider what's actually in the best interest of their child. What does the child need? In order to do that, I'd recommend the second thing they do, I'm not saying this because I'm a family law lawyer, is to call a family law lawyer. The family law lawyer has specific knowledge and experience dealing with these matters every day, and they can direct people to act in the best interest of their child. Separation is a really difficult time. It's like any breakup, it's very emotional. Family law lawyer will remove the emotion from that situation and help move families forward. Sometimes families get stuck in the emotion and they can't see a way through, and family lawyers will help them just move forward so that everybody in the family will get on with their lives.
All right, Rachel, great stuff. Thanks for coming on today's show, and I'm hoping to see you again sometime down the road.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So there you have it. If you need the help of a family lawyer, get in contact with Rachel Healy of Devery Smith Frank LLP. I'm your host, Joe Tercera. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.